Okay, the lesson for today is 10-2, and it's talking about X and Y intercepts. And you can read the topics that are on the board, those 4 topics. What are X and Y intercepts? How do we find them? What are they in the real world? And then graphing lines using X and Y intercepts. So copy those down, take good notes, we'll check them in class tomorrow. So first off, this is the definition of X and Y intercepts. Just the place where it crosses, your line crosses the X or the Y axis. So here is, make sure you pause this and write everything down. Here is an example of it. This right here crosses, the line crosses the x-axis at -4, so we say the x-intercept is -4. Another way to say that is -4, 0. And then here is the y-intercept, because it's where it crosses the y-axis. We say it's -3 or 0, -3. Notice that when the y-intercept is there, you have a 0 for x, and when the x-intercept is here, you have a 0 for y. So what I want you to do is tell for the graph below, what are the x and the y intercepts for this line to the right? So we know the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. So we say the x-intercept is right here. So that is point 5, 0. 5, 0. And the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. That's this point right here. That would be 0, 4. Okay. The number one problem is people switch. They put these in the wrong order. Remember, it's x and y, x and y. And when you have the x-intercept, the y is 0. When you have the y-intercept, the x is 0. Okay. Next slide. Finding the x and y intercepts. This is key for this problem, that you write down this box right here. Okay, and that you memorize. To find the x-intercept, plug in 0 for y and solve. And to find the y-intercept, we plug in 0 for x and solve. So question B right here, we're going to find the x and y-intercept. So to find the x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So that will be 3x minus 2 times 0 equals 12. When I plug in 0 for y, this whole term will go away. So I will get 3x equals 12. So x is equal to 4. So my x-intercept here is 4, 0. Or 4. Okay? And then the y-intercept. The y-intercept here, I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So that would be 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 12. And then this will go away, and I will have negative 2y equals 12. Notice the negative, the minus is a negative in front of the 2. Divide by -2, and I get that y is equal to -6. Okay, so the y-intercept is 0, -6. All right, so those are my x and y-intercepts. You can do it by using a cover-up method, which we'll do in class, but you just basically cover up the opposite variable and solve for whichever variable that you need. What I want you to do now is practice these 2 problems right here listed, and we'll go over the answers for them. So pause it right now, practice it, make sure that you can do it. Okay. So quickly, if we cover up the y variable, that would be plugging in 0 for y and solve for x. X would be equal to -10. So the x intercept would be -10, 0. And if we erase that now, I could erase that and cover up the x variable. That would solve for the y. So I would get that y would be equal to +6. So here, 0, 6 would be my answer. So these are my 2 intercepts. You can mostly do that just by looking and doing it in your head. Second problem here, we cover up x and solve for y. Y would be equal to 8. So 0, 8 is my y-intercept, and then let's cover up the y variable, and I solve for x. X would be equal to 4. So 4, 0 would be my x-intercept for that problem. So those 2 are my answers for x and y-intercept on those problems. Okay. Next thing is graphing using the x and y-intercepts. So instead of graphing, so read this slowly and carefully and make sure you understand what it says, okay? Instead of graphing using slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, now we're going to graph using standard form, which we covered in class yesterday. That's ax plus by equals c. In standard form, we plot the x and y intercepts, okay? I'm going to graph. So let's do that right here. Let's say the x-intercept here, if I cover up y, the x-intercept is 8, or better yet, it's 8, 0. And the y-intercept, if I cover up y, the y-intercept would be equal to 6, so it would be 0, 6. All that I do is I plot these. So I plot 8, 0, that would be where? Right about here. And 0, 6 will be here. And anytime that you have two lines, you can draw a line, two dots, excuse me, you can draw a line through those dots, and that would be the graph. That's it. That's all that you have to do, okay? So practice on this next one. This next problem here would be, if I cover up x, I'll get x is equal to 4. So 4, 0 is the x-intercept. If I cover up, if I cover up x this time, y would be equal to -2. So 0, -2 would be my y-intercept. So when I graph these, I didn't have a graph. Let's just make a graph here. 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be plotting a point there. And then 0, -2, plotting a point there. Now we graph the line that goes through both of those. Okay? So that would be the line that I would graph for this second example. Okay? So those two are graphing lines. All we're doing is plotting the y-intercepts. Okay? Third example here is just a word problem in a real-life context for x and y-intercepts. So we're given this function, f of x equals -25 plus 5x. And they've asked us to graph the functions using its intercepts. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is plug in 0 for y. If I plug in 0 for y, this thing is basically y, right? So plugging in 0 for y would be 0 equals -25 plus 5x. If I went and solved this out, I would get that x is equal to 5, or 5, 0. Okay, so let's plot that over here. That's this point right there. Okay, and then if I plug in 0 for x, it would be this. It would be f of x equals -25 plus 5 times 0. Right? If I work this out, I would get that f of x is equal to -25. Okay, so excuse me. So f of x or y is the same thing. Y equals -25. So when I graph this, I'm going to graph -25. It's going to be way down low, so I'll just simulate that this is the line that comes through, and it goes, let's say it goes way down low. It would be similar, something that looks about like that, okay? So the line would come up and look about like that. What's important here is what does each intercept represent, okay? What does each intercept represent? So 5, 0, we know in this example that x represents the hours, right? X is the hours that a specimen has been stored, okay? And the f of x, or y here, is going to be the temperature, okay? Temperature, okay? So what 5, 0 means is that after 5 hours, I know, I apologize, this is not clear. After 5 hours, the temperature is 0, okay? And what the other intercept, which is 0, -25, means that after 0 hours, the temperature is -25, okay? That's what those two intercepts means. That's important to know what those two dots means and be able to explain those within the context of a problem.